clients are able to do that either way.
I'm going to be putting my brain map up. That way I have no problem with anybody else's. There's no compliance things there. So you're going to be seeing my brain map.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's good. So guys, be ready to take pictures. And then if we have time at the end, we will make sure that we open it up for maybe 1 or 2 questions. Till the end though, until you drop the questions in the chat, because sometimes they get lost in the chat feed and then it's hard to go all the way back and find them. So, all right, let me go ahead and get this meeting set up here. All right, get this meeting recorded.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're excited this Wednesday to have a very special guest with us. We have Dr. Ron on the line with us, and Dr. Ron is from New York. Okay, welcome everyone. We're excited this Wednesday to have a very special guest with us. I always forget to shut that off.
Hey, it's no fun unless we're making some mistakes here and there. It's all good, Jenny.
I'm not very good at technology half the time. So we're excited, you guys. Tonight we are going to be discussing the activated brain, and we know that brain health is the foundation and really the foundation of our health across the board. And so Dr. Ron is a specialist. He's a chiropractor. He has a passion for the brain. He's a specialist in neurofeedback therapy. And he's been doing this for quite some time. And so Dr. Ron and I actually met on one Wellness Wednesday. We were talking about gut health, and he happened to raise his hand and unmute himself, and he had a lot of passion and fire and information behind what he was saying. And so he caught my attention. So he's a man of passion and excitement. I had a chance to get to know him on the phone last night. And I called my team and I said, you have to be on this call because the information Dr. Ron's going to be sharing with us tonight is going to blow your mind. So Dr. Ron, thank you for being with us tonight. As always, our Wellness Wednesdays are here to empower the people that are watching to take back their health. And we know that we are onto something huge. We know that we have a medical breakthrough on our hands, and this information needs to land in everybody's lap. So we'd love to hear your story as to how you not only landed upon our company Life Here with LifeVantage, but why you're passionate about activation and how you ended up serving the community and really being, I love it. You're kind of like breaking systems and wanting to kind of get people to think differently about their health. So tell us a little bit about all of that. We're excited to hear from you.
All right. So I'm a chiropractor for 25 years. I started doing neurofeedback about 12 years ago. How I came to this company. It's interesting. I had 3 different people. As a chiropractor, I got people knocking on my door all the time, asking me to join multi-level marketing companies. And to be honest with you, I've heard a lot of different pitches from a lot of different companies. I've been involved with several others. And I got to be honest with you, everybody says their products are the best. Everybody tells you that we're top of the line, the best, the greatest, blah, blah, blah. And my dear friend, I had 2 friends come to me prior to the last person. My first friend was he was a guy that's in construction and does landscaping. And he says to me, you got to try this product out. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then another friend of mine came. And then a friend of mine who I'm very close with, her name is Sarah Bonaccina. She came to me and said, Ron, I'm looking at a business and I want to see, if you're interested. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really interested, but thank you. She goes, listen, Ron, I really respect you. You're a doctor. Would you do me a favor and would you read some articles for me and tell me what you think? Ladies, always use your brain. Women are far smarter than men, right? Because here I was saying no to everybody. But my friend told me I'm a doctor and I would like you to read these articles for me and tell me what you think. So I'm expecting, some sort of catalog to come to me, maybe like some newspaper articles. I'm expecting someone's opinion to show up and nothing more than that. Well, was I blown away? Because when I opened up my email, there it was, 5 different PubMed articles, one from Harvard, one from LSU, one from Northwestern, one from the American Heart Association, and one from the National Institute of Aging. And I was like, whoa. So then, of course, she puts me into the next step where I talk to her upline. And I heard Cynthia Greenwald say to me, Ron, this is the future of healthcare. This is like Apple. You're like being Steve Jobs' garage. And I'm looking at her like, you have 4 heads, right? Like, I really am not hearing any of this. And I said to her, what are your ORAC scores on your products? And I want to know what the, antioxidant ability of this stuff is. And she goes, I don't have an answer for that. But she put me in touch with Dr. Don D. Nettles. And I will tell you, I fell in love with Dr. Don D within about 35 seconds. And then I was on the call with him and I Facebook him. We're looking on Facebook. I want to know who I'm talking to. And there he is. Him and I have so many mutual friends because we actually graduated chiropractic school, I don't know, approximately 6 months apart. So we have tons and tons of mutual friends. And so right away, I started to trust him. And he told me, hey, Ron, I stopped practicing. This product changed my life. Now, in the world of neurofeedback, every seminar I've ever been to, they're always pushing some sort of vitamin on you, telling you that this reduces oxidative stress, this reduces oxidative stress, and none of it works. I mean, I'm just going to be straight up. Vitamin C, yeah, you'll get some results, but nothing the way what I started seeing with using the Tri-Synergizer. I was blown away. At first I was skeptical and I started taking the product myself. And what I started noticing is that I had COVID. I had COVID in December and I was getting worried in January that I was going to get sick again. And I started taking the products around the 27th of January. By about the 15th of February, I had totally forgot I had COVID. My brain and body was starting to feel really good. I was working out with my son in the gym. I was starting to really get some great results with the product. And I said to myself, what's in here? And that's when I just started listening from a new place. And I really got that, could I be onto something really big? Could this really be that Apple Corporation? Could this be something that could really make a difference in the world? Now, being a chiropractor, I'm the grandson of a pharmacist. Okay, so this is even more fun. I had a grandfather who at the end of his life was basically telling me when he was in the old age home and the nurses were asking him to take his medication. And I said, well, how do you know he's not taking his medication? And they said, well, he's planting it in every plant in our building and every plant is dying. Right. And they said to me, could you get him to take the medication? Now, this was a man who called me a quack because I wanted to be a chiropractor. That was the old generation. And I said to him, hey, Grandpa, I got a question for you. How come you're not taking your medication? And the guy didn't remember my name, but he stopped and looked at me and goes, what do you think? I'm stupid? I know exactly what's in this stuff. It's going to kill me. So that's when I knew I was onto something different long before LifeVantage, that the world, that even the drug companies are fairly aware of what they're doing. We are in a war, guys. I'm just going to straight up say this to you so that you get it. Might ruffle some feathers here. But drug companies right now, they're not out there for the benefit of people. And if you didn't see yesterday's news out of Holland, where they just got done telling you that the Pfizer vaccine did not stop the spread of the virus, and you got to start asking yourself, what are these people doing? Are we as people here going to be responsible for our health? Are we like it's the most important thing we got? Because if we're waiting for other people to tell us how to live our lives, if we're waiting for other companies and doctors who don't even realize what they're doing because they've been so indoctrinated, if we're waiting for them to tell us how to live our lives, then you're not being responsible. And as the old kindergarten teacher used to say to my daughter, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So if you're going to not take on the responsibility of your health, then you really should start saying to yourself that I'm going to get what I get and I shouldn't be upset. What we're working with in this company, these products are light years apart than anything I've ever seen. Why? Because we're activating what's already in us. And you probably all know this, but as chiropractors, I'm always looking for what makes a difference to bring out someone's peak potential, right? That's it. What I want. An adjustment brings out peak potential. Neurofeedback brings out peak potential. Biohacking is always around the world of peak potential. But a lot of supplement companies and a lot of supplements out there, well, as you know, 1-for-1, right? The molecule, 1-for-1 molecules, right? So you're not activating anything. You're adding something to the body. A lot of these companies, let's just call what they are. They're making them profit. They're trying to make as much profit as they can. So they don't necessarily have what they say in their vitamins that they are. So many different companies using synthetic products, garbage, whatever. I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but I'm here to say is this. You're not always getting what you're paying for when you buy vitamins and supplements. So when I start seeing patients of mine and I start giving them Tri-Synergizer, I start giving them Axio, and I'm seeing people whose brain maps are starting to change and drastically change to the point where you say to yourself, whoa, maybe the majority of these people's problems are metabolic. They're not just neurological. And so when you start to look at metabolic, what do I mean by that? Well, guys, we're being hacked. We're being hijacked every day. Your bodies, if you walk into any supermarket, right? Any supermarket, and you're looking for the health food section, how many aisles are usually in that health food section? Maybe 3. If you're lucky, you get 4 aisles, unless you're in a whole health food store. But at your supermarket, now I know we're all over the country, we've got different names for different supermarkets, but where I live, Stop and Shop, they have about 2 or 3 aisles, 4 aisles of health food. And then what do you call the rest of the food there? I call it a chemical storm. And I'm being very PG about that because I usually call it something else. But it's not there for your benefit. It's there for your destruction. It's there to mess with your hormones. It's there to make you fat. And by the way, if you don't know this, the Food and Drug Administration is ran by drug companies. And their idea is to keep you, each and every one of you, from cradle to grave on drugs. If you don't get that, that's their business model. And recently, in the last 7-8 years, they started talking about adult vaccines. They started pushing the idea that vaccines were now not going to be just for kids, but they were going to start pushing for adults. And guess what? They created a pandemic and they gave you it. And people, listen, if you took it, you took it. That's okay. It's a choice. You got, you were basically threatened to take it. You were scared to take it, whatever. But here's the truth. If you don't start looking at the companies that were prescribing this stuff, they're the 2 most fined companies in American history, both Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. So the question is, what are you looking to do for you and your friends? If you get what oxidative stress is doing to every person you know, if you really get what the world is facing every day, from heart disease, cancer, depression, anxiety, if you start looking at diabetes, if you start looking at kidney failure, everything that's oxidative stress, you go type in whatever your disease process is and see if oxidative stress has a part of it, then basically you should realize that everybody you know around you is dying on some level, slowly. Now, people are afraid to talk to people about this. Like, this is what happens. We get afraid. Like, what if I don't know what I'm saying, right? But it comes down to your conviction. And I'm going to just share this with you. If your friend was drowning in front of you, would you be hesitant to throw a life preserver to them? Would you care if you hit them in the head with the life preserver or you missed, but they had to swim to it? Would you care if you didn't say it the right way? And the answer is no. Well, your friends are looking for life preservers and the world is waiting for you. See, I really don't believe any one of you chose LifeVantage. I believe it was chosen for you. It was a gift given to each and every one of you. That right now, each and every one of you has an opportunity to change the world. And how do you do that? By going out and sharing with others, telling them the story of what this company is about, telling them your story, and telling them that you heard some crazy guy saying that, your life is depending on taking this stuff, being the quality of your life gets a hell of a lot better once you're on these products. So I'll share with you some things about me. I recently took a life insurance exam. Now, my cholesterol has been for years 236, doesn't change. 236 HDL LDL ratio is great. My cholesterol was down to 195, right? That's after 6 months of taking the products. My blood pressure has always been 120 over 80, 120 over 80, 120 over 80. Couldn't believe it was 110 over 60. The last time I was 110 over 60, I was wrestling in high school at 132. That's how long ago that was. I'm 54 years old. I know the world of biohacking. I understand biohacking, and I've never seen anything like the Tri-Synergizer, Axio, and now the collagen products. I mean, my goodness, the skin, I could even show my pictures from my skin, what changed. And I didn't load them up to be here with that, but I'm going to tell you drastic changes. And if your skin's getting better, what do you think your gut's doing? What do you think your nails, your hair, your teeth, your gums, the discs between your spine, how they're doing, the ligaments, your tendons, every connective tissue in your body is made from collagen. And we have a product that has all 10 collagen products in it, all 10 types of collagen that you're taking. So every time I look at this company, I try to find holes. I am such a hole poker, man. I got to be honest with you. I coach people all the time, and I look for their weaknesses, and there's no weaknesses in this company. Not one. And I mean that. There's not one. I trust me, if there was, I would have ripped it open a long time ago. And that's what brings my conviction to this company, my commitment and conviction, my commitment to the people I love, and my conviction in what we're doing. So what I want to share with you guys is what's called a QEEG brain map. Now, I I have been doing neurofeedback on myself probably for the last 10 years. And there are times that I stop, and there are times that I do a lot of intensive work, and I give myself a chance to let my brain heal. So in 2021, I decided to do a brain map. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'll pull this up. Boom. So I decided to do a brain map. And so let's see if I can get my brain map up here so you can all see it. Can you see this? Can you see those meters up there?
We can. They look great.
Okay. So on July 29th, 2021, I did map number 9. And on July 28th, 2022, a year to the day, I did my second map. Now, in that time, I only did 2 neurofeedback sessions. So what you're seeing here is not from neurofeedback. Okay. There is no chance that in heaven or hell, excuse my language, that this would change from doing neurofeedback for 2 sessions. And by the way, I did those 2 sessions in July of 2021. So the first meter over here is called reorganization on the left. That means how much has changed. That's still not perfect, but we're doing really well. And then total change is what we see. And then normalization. Now, normalization normally comes in my office around 35 to 40%. All I did was start taking Axio in January and Tri-Synergizer on 27th of January forward. And this is what ends up happening. Now, see that normalization, that's about 65%, a total change of 46% on my brain. Now, I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can get a better understanding. So let me explain colors to you so that they're really easy to understand. Green is normal. You want to see as much green on a map as you possibly can. Red means 1 standard deviation above normal. Yellow means 2 standard deviations above normal. Light blue means 1 deviation below normal, and dark blue is 2 deviations below normal. Now, I had 2 concussions in high school, and I got hit by a car on a bicycle August 25th, 1994. So that's how I became a chiropractor. Now, after 2 sessions of neurofeedback and a whole lot of Axio and a whole lot of Tri-Synergizer, and I didn't miss any today, and start taking on the collagen in July. I think I was maybe 14 days into it. Take a look at the map below. It's all green. Now that right there, guys, beta, when you see high beta activity, that's anxiety. When you see high alpha activity, that's usually depression. When you see theta, well, that's usually head injuries, concussions, and or ADD type stuff, right? So this is right after COVID. I didn't do anything other than that. Still worked out, still ate really well. My wife takes really good care of me. We eat mostly organic in our lives. Everything is either biodynamic or organic. This is huge shifts, huge change. Do you understand that? Does anybody have any questions about this? Just quickly.
Yeah, I actually would love to say something about this because I had a distributor, a friend of mine, reach out the other day and say, somebody asked me, well, I eat healthy, I'm fit, I work out, I eat organic. Why do I need this? There's nothing here that impresses me. How would you answer that question to the average population?
Well, oxidative stress is in everything, guys. You could be eating organic. You could be doing everything you want. But if you ever look up in the sky and you see those little white lines that they're flying over your head, or maybe the drinking water you're drinking isn't so healthy, or maybe the stuff that you think is what you're cleaning your house with is actually good, but it's actually been marketed to be good, but it's actually garbage. These are the things that create oxidative stress, things that mess with your hormones, that activate your hormones. So guys, get this real quick. We created something that activates healthy stuff in your body. You do know that the pharmaceutical companies activate things that destroy things in your body, right? So the more toxicity you have in your body, the more stuff, your laundry detergents, your shampoos, your underarm deodorant, your ladies, your perfume, your makeup, men, I don't know what other things, men, cologne, all this stuff. This is all stuff that's made with fragrance, and fragrance is a nice word to say chemical storm, and I'm forgetting the S word that I'd like to put before it. But guys, it's basically we're messing with our bodies, and it's designed that way. Our countries, some of the food that we think is healthy isn't healthy. The United States is ranked, the last time I checked, was like 48th in the world in healthcare. We spend more money than any other country in the world, but we're ranked 48th in the world in healthcare. Here's another stat you probably don't know. Everybody knows that heart attacks are the number 1 cause of death. And number 2 cause of death in America, well, that's cancer. Now, Go look up a word called iatrogenic, IATROGENIC. Google it. Then go type in Hopkins, as in John Hopkins. And you'll see they say that iatrogenic disease is the third leading cause of death in the United States. If you don't know what iatrogenic disease is and you don't want to look it up, I'll tell you. It's called doctor caused, right? Doctor caused. Now, if I'm a doctor and I gave you a medication and it caused a heart attack in you, guess what? That medication is not the problem. You had a heart attack. You're labeled a heart attack. If I gave you a medication and it gave you cancer, it's not the doctor's problem. It's not the cause on the medication. It's labeled cancer. So our society, we are led by a group of people that are in this for the profit of destruction of people. They're not here for your well-being. So like I said, if you start to get what we're doing for brain health, let me share with you, any autistic child, if you start looking at autistic kids, they have low mitochondrial counts in their cells. What I mean by low mitochondrial cells, what that means is their brains do not process energy the way a normal brain would, right? It's been damaged on some level, all right? Or if you look at oxidative stress on everybody, mitochondrial health is huge, right? Really important. And then reducing oxidative stress is also really important. And then if you get into the communication, that's also really important. So if you were to look at guys like, David Sinclair out of Harvard, like I've been listening to him for a long time talk about, slowing down the aging process. Well, the aging process, if we slow down the aging process, our brain function is so much more clearer. Like when you start to look at Alzheimer's and dementia, I want you to start thinking of sugar. Like sugar is the reason why you see people with these problems. It starts in their gut. They get leaky gut syndrome. And over time, what ends up happening is they start to have leaky brain syndrome. Now, leaky brain syndrome is also known as type 3 diabetes. Don't believe me? Google it. I promise you, everything I say today, you're going to get is real. So out there, you're getting people who are eating sugar left and right. Cancer, by the way, loves sugar. Loves it, right? It says basically the more sugar you have, the worse it is for your body. Now, corn syrup is an even bigger hormone disruptor. So when that starts to create oxidative stress in our body and we are reducing that, we're actually preventing problems in the beginning. Where else do you see preventative healthcare? Right? There is no preventative healthcare. The healthcare in our country doesn't exist. There is no healthcare. You have sick care. You have a program, you have a society that's based around sick care, making big money and not taking care of people. Now, if you're not upset yet, maybe it's time you start to look at it, right? Because your friends, you know people who are dying from stuff like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all of it's preventable. All of it. And unfortunately, it's very hard.
I love what you're saying, Dr. Ron, because I think the best customer is return customer, which is always the foundation of what we're doing. Let's break it down. So I love what you're saying. I love your passion. For those that know who I am, you and I had a conversation. You are speaking truth bombs that everybody needs to hear. And it's not offensive. The truth kind of peels back the layers. So let's peel back the layers of activation. Let's actually get into the science behind Protandim. And I know we had a chat about this. You keep it super simple. So without talking biology and science, because I was never that smart in high school anyway, but break it down for us and let's talk about the activated brain and activation, NRF2, NRF1, and NAD.
NRF2, basically, imagine you got a garbage company coming in, cleaning up garbage in your cells. That's how you explain it to people. Simple. Cleaning up the garbage, getting rid of the garbage. NRF1, turning the energy back on, make it more energy efficient. Your cells become more energy efficient. And then NAD, which is the sirtuins. Sirtuins are basically communication. So cells talking to cells are healthier. When cells don't communicate with cells, then there's more dysfunction. Dysfunction breaks down the cells and creates more problems. So we want to keep it as simple as possible because I've talked to people, and as a doctor, I can talk to anybody, right? That's great. But there are people out there that don't get it. And when you start talking about, well, oxidative stress, well, they look at you like, Well, the buzzword for oxidative stress, by the way, is inflammation. Everybody says inflammation, right? So just think, if you know someone who's inflamed, anybody's overweight, anybody's, puffy, that's inflammation. But there are people who are skinny who are inflamed. So oxidative stress doesn't care about your body type. Oxidative stress doesn't care if you're black or you're white, doesn't care if you're young or old, it's there. And we're seeing it in young kids now too, guys. This last few years, the amount of stress that's been put on children, in my office, I'm seeing more anxiety and depression in 8-year-old kids. 8-year-old kids shouldn't be depressed, and they shouldn't have anxiety. So I see a lot of stuff popping in through the chat, and I can't read all of it. It's over 900. It's over 99 plus, and I'm watching it just scroll by. So yeah, well, cool. So let's talk about activation in the brain, right? Like if you're reducing those oxidative stress and you're getting more mitochondria in the brain and you're getting the NAD to flow and your body is starting to communicate healthier, then this starts to repair other things. This company is geared for health, right? So think of this. Think of the collagen repairs all the proteins in your body. Think of your probiotics being the only probiotics that can get past your stomach acid, right? And get into your intestines where they belong. Because you ever notice when you take a probiotic, it's billions and billions and billions, and you're only getting about 15% of that, maybe 20% of that. With ours, what does it get? About 65, 70% of that gets into the gut. That's where you want it. You don't want it in your stomach. You want it in the gut. And when the flora starts to get healthier, your brain-gut connection gets healthier. Now, again, I started talking about it for a minute there with sugar, but other things do lots of damage to the gut. And when the gut's damaged, you're affecting the brain. Serotonin, which is what keeps people from being depressed, is produced in your gut. Now, if you don't have healthy gut, you ain't going to have a healthy brain. And it's as simple as that. You know, the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. So what else can I say? I mean, guys, the company you're working with is like no other company. It's like no other company. And the fact is, it's giving you an opportunity to be free, because freedom in health is freedom in wealth. You know, they say that. I didn't join the company to make money. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. I think making money is great. And I joined this company because I see what it does. And I get that the side effect of helping people is money, right? So let's just call it what it is. There's not a person in your friends, family, or any place you know that couldn't be a customer, shouldn't be a customer. Why? And if they're not a customer, maybe a distributor. Because opportunity here, as you guys know, we're a new company. We're in the pioneering stages. And what's going to happen if the world catches on to this is you're not going to forget about that. You can't get your collagen and have to wait 2-3 weeks. Wait till you find out that this company, if it catches on like a Joe McCord type thing happens again, the wave is going to hit the beach. Are you got your surfboard? Are you ready to ride that wave? Are you ready to make a difference in the world? Because it's waiting for you. You guys, you're sitting on top of a gold mine of health. And the gold mine of health is going to change the world because no one else is going to do it.
Well, I think there are so many truth bombs here, Dr. Ron. I don't even know what else to say. You've covered it all. What would you, I know you dropped a bunch of truth bombs. You guys actually, as Dr. Ron is leaving us with his last thought, would you mind if people would be able to maybe ask a few questions here
Sure.
in chat? So as he's wrapping it up, Dr. Ron, what can you say that isn't blowing our minds already? Like, how would you like to leave us today? I know we like to be respectful of everybody's time, but you could say one last thing in regards to this product, the opportunity, what you're sharing right now being the biggest thing you've ever seen in your 25 years of practicing integrative health. What would you tell the person that's watching this that has never seen this before?
Trust the system. Trust the fact that you've been chosen to do this. Trust that fate has brought you here, that the only thing that's stopping you from being successful in this business is you. And you got to start looking at yourself and saying, what is my purpose here? Forget about my why, about the house and the car, all that stuff. What's my purpose? What is my commitment to the world? What is my conviction in the stuff that I'm working with? Who is this company? Do I know what I'm doing and how big I actually have it? How good I actually have it right now? Because a lot of times we doubt things. And when we doubt things, we don't believe it's for real. And the more you don't believe it's real, the more it doesn't happen. But if you really got what you're working with, why this crazy guy in New York is sitting here chirping up a storm, because I know what we got. I know each and every one of you have got success stories, and these success stories build on other success stories. And the more you share this, the better it's going to be for other people, and the better it's going to be for you and your family. So here's what I'm going to say to you. Start believing in what you got. Believe that you were chosen to do this. Right? You were chosen. You didn't choose us. We chose you. This is the war, light and darkness right now, guys. And we're in a space right now. Where are we going? Who are you? Are you willing to stand up? Because the drug companies don't care. and the government doesn't care. And if you think I'm making this stuff up, just start reading everything I told you. Just everything I said tonight, go Google it. You'll find it. And even they right now, they're censoring everything. They don't want you to know, because now big tech is getting involved. As Dr. Don D. Nettles shared with us, a few months back, about how Google, Apple, and Bezos all have companies that are trying to compete with us by creating drugs that activate DNA, right? Like, you get that your body is amazing. You are a machine that works incredible, and all you're doing is adding something that makes the machine work better, right? You're not adding anything that the body doesn't need. You're adding what the body already does, and you're turning it on. That activation is real. It's not a logo. It's not a slogan. It's reality. You're turning on the most important thing your body makes, which is glutathione, to fight off everything and anything. You know, during the pandemic, I was telling people take NAC, because NAC produces glutathione, and glutathione makes 50% more, not 300% more. Now think about that. That's insane. Your body is activating from 5 things: turmeric, green tea, bacopa, milk thistle, and ashwagandha. And that's it. Like, nothing synthetic. Everything's there. It's all God's natural stuff that makes your body turn on. So I would love to answer any questions, anybody that has any questions. I don't know.
I'm looking at the chat and I don't see really any questions coming through. One of the things I will say, though, is I've been here a decade, Dr. Ron, and I can say, as though I don't have the doctor, label behind me, I can say that everything, sometimes I tell people, if I can literally download my brain into people, like what I've seen this product do inside people's bodies, they would never sleep a day in their life, even though Protandim helps us sleep. They would tell literally everybody that they know about what we have. And we want to tell you guys, keep it simple. I want to encourage you, if you're watching this information for the first time, I know he dropped a lot of truth bombs. I want to encourage you to get with the person that invited you to this information. They can follow up and share more details about the science, but don't get into the science. Just know we are in momentum in this company. Dr. Ron, you fired me up. I mean, goodness gracious.
I love what you're saying, Jenny. I do want to answer Faye, because she asked about TBI. Okay. Traumatic brain injury is all about mitochondrial health as well, and oxidative stress. The work I do is the only work that, if you look at the NFL uses neurofeedback for traumatic brain injuries. And I right now have 2 different patients who had concussions who are on the product, and just the Axio alone gets them up every morning. Like, Axio is something that you could feel almost immediately. Like with the Tri-Synergizer, I think it takes a month or 2 months. I tell everybody you need 4 months on this product, because it takes 4 months to change all the red blood cells in your body, right? 120 days change all the red blood cells in your body. So in traumatic brain injuries, when we start to see people with traumatic brain injuries, it's definitely low mitochondrial counts in cells, definitely oxidative stress, and the cells aren't communicating with one another. Traumatic brain injuries, this slows the brain down to really slow levels. 0 to 4 hertz per second is what we see in brainwave activity. That's high delta brainwave, right? That's what you do when you dream. That's what these people are doing once they have a traumatic brain injury. They're walking around in a dream state. Foggy brain, gut issues. So the products that we use is so amazing for traumatic brain injury. So football teams should be on this stuff. Anybody can have a possible brain injury. This is product. It's just amazing what it does for brain fog, what it does for people with depression, anxiety. I mean, I laugh when I watch the Joe McCord video on ABC, because you have this, who's the guy from Colorado with the glasses, and he's sitting there going, like he's being fed everything he needs to be fed. And with depression, and he goes, yeah, Alzheimer's and depression. And yeah, anything that has to do with your brain, the more you're feeding it the nutrients it needs, the stuff that your brain needs, which is glutathione and mitochondrial health and and catalase and superoxide dismutase, basically. And I just went scientific on you guys. Basically, that's the stuff that gets your brain working. B complex. By the way, the beauty of Axio. Someone asked me today why Axio. because it gets your brain to methylate. Methylation is found in DMAE, which is in Axio, and the B complex vitamins. So when your brain is, and this goes out to my vegan friends out there, if you're not supplementing with B complex, I highly recommend you get yourself on Axio, because your brain is definitely going to have an impact. Women, if you're menstruating and you're not getting iron in your bloodstream, you start finding a way to get that in there. But the B complex, the Axio, is going to feed your brain. It is what brain food is. That this shouldn't be called an energy drink. It should be called brain food.
It's a nootropic. And Dr. Ron, I think we have you back because methylation, you and I chatted about this. Methylation is one of the big, we could have a 2-hour conversation about that. I know we're going in, but I think everybody's super stoked. Will you just give an idea as to why the population has issues in methylation, and how that affects not only our younger population and why our products are so effective? I mean, we could go so many different routes, but let's give a teaser, because I think we need to have a follow-up on just methylation, because it's a passion of mine. My son was vaccine injured when he was 3, and that's what opened my mind. So,
all right, so let's just open the can of worms, right? So when you and I were kids, we got about 6 vaccines by the time we were 18. The average kid now has about 72. If they get Gardasil, they have 72 vaccines. These vaccine companies have more and more in the pipeline. And these things are not meant, your body wasn't meant to get injections. Listen, just call it what it is. If you're a Bible person, go read Genesis. Go read the book of Genesis 1:23. God says, I gave you everything you needed in the world, from fish to fowl, from plant to herb. Everything is there, right? I'm not quoting it verbatim, but he doesn't say anything about vaccines. He doesn't say anything about products that are made in laboratories that are synthetic, that are foreign to the body. He talks about everything that was around millions of years ago, or whenever time started, right? So be with that. Like, as a doctor, some people say science, science, science. I like Einstein's theory about science. What he said was, I like to see how God thinks. That's what science is about, what God thinks, right? So in the world of that, vaccine damage is happening on such level. When autism was first being measured in the 50s, it was like 1 out of every 10,000 kids. In the 60s, 1 in every 10,000 kids. The 70s, 1 in every 10,000 kids. In the 80s, 1 in every 10,000 kids. In 1990, it went to 1 in 5,000. Now we're down to 1 in every 32 kids are on the spectrum. And it's not because we're better diagnosing. It's because we're destroying kids through the crap that we feed them, through the stuff we're injecting in them, and through the fact that we keep them in TV, watching on blue screens where they don't sleep at night. By the way, those blue screens, if you're on your computer or your phone late at night, what that's doing, icy bright, by the way, that's doing is activating your brain to be in anxiety. It's creating what we call high beta brainwaves to activate, and it creates your brain to fire up, fire up, fire up. So when you're looking at blue light before you go to bed, you're not getting deep sleep. Deep sleep is when your body heals. So everything that we're going into right now is just, my God, I can go for hours on this stuff.
I mean, I just want to say, Dr. Ron, because when you're hearing this stuff, this has been a journey for me. I mean, my son's 17. So when you peel back the layers of truth and wellness and the way that God designed our body, and you lay this information on somebody that's just hearing this for the first time, I just want to encourage you, this is not to divide. This information is to empower and inspire you to see what we have for you today. And I love it, because it's almost like when you speak truth, all the lies go away, right? And this is all about empowering you. It's not about, making money or let's follow the money and uncover the truth. Dr. Ron, you have spoke it completely as perfectly as anybody could say it. You light me up. Those that know who I am, he knows that you are lighting me up today. So I love it. And I don't know, one last thing.
Sister of another mister, I'll call you, right? We're just light-minded people. You got to get something, guys. We live in a society that our government has failed us. It just was simple as that. It failed us, because when they allowed the corporations in 2010 to be able to have the same rights as you as individuals, Citizens United, when that happened, that was the game over. The corporations now can do whatever they want because they can put as much money behind any politician that they can. And you get these politicians who've been in power for years. So when you see anybody, like there used to be a joke, a meme I used to see about politicians should be like race cars. They should have all their sponsors written on their jackets, right? Well, that's the same thing here. You got to get that. Unless you're willing to take on your own well-being, your own health, you're not going to let someone else dictate that to you, then Until you do that, you're going to be a victim of other people's choices for you. And that's not okay in my book. So as the teacher, her name was Mrs. Mickey, I used to say to my daughter in kindergarten, Stevie, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And that's what it is, man. That's really what it is. You guys.
We can't hold people accountable. We can speak truth, but at the end of the day, you have to take personal responsibility for your health. You have to empower your family. You have to understand and uncover the truth. And no matter what, at the end of the day, the government's doing what they're going to do. We can't control that. We can control what we allow in our house and what we put inside of our bodies every single day. And I think you've inspired us, Dr. Ron. Like literally, I've been on these products for 10 years. I would never get off of them if somebody even tried to get me off of them. I'm telling you, I've seen it. It's amazing. And if you've seen this presentation tonight and you don't want to take these products, you don't even got to look at the science, baby. I'm just saying it's here and it's there. And I'm going to let you close it, Dr. Ron. You've been incredible. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I mean, there's nothing else that needs to be said, I think, for sure.
I want you all to just remember one thing. You're all miracles, right? If you ever took an anatomy class, you ever took an embryology class, I know it sounds kind of weird, but when I say there were 350 million contestants that lined up the night you were conceived, and you were the winner, one of 350 million. There's no mistakes here. The intelligence that lives within you is huge. And if you start realizing that that intelligence is something that they don't want you to believe in, that they want you to think that your body is dumb and that you were born to take drugs, keep watching the TV. I don't care if you like the left side of the TV or the right side of the TV. They're programming you, right? And they spend more money than any other companies on television to tell you you need more of their product. 65 to 70% of all commercials on TV are for medications. Our country is one of 2 countries in the world that advertises medications. This would never happen in Europe, right? But in our country, for some reason, God forbid you're watching the news or you're watching something that's programming you to be depressed, and then they got you taking medications. It's like almost like an infomercial to buy more product. You got to start taking on your life is yours. Your life is yours, nobody else's. You dictate you. You're a miracle. Start believing that. Stop thinking that you're a victim. No matter what's happened to you, you can overtake that. You're powerful beyond words. And the minute that you get that, you've won. Get out of the matrix. Start taking on your life.
I love it. Well, we're closing our Wellness Wednesday. Dr. Ron, you by far have been one of the most incredible presenters I've ever heard. Your passion, your mind, your everything that you've shared with us today. I hope we can have you come back. If you are a guest, get with the person that invited you. We want to welcome you into our community. You found a community of people that think outside of the box and that want to empower you to be better. So thank you for joining us tonight, Dr. Ron. You're the bomb. Truth bomb.
And thank you all so much for allowing me to be here. It was an honor and privilege to be with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Been incredible. Thank you, guys. Tune in next Wednesday. We are going to be dropping a lot of more truth bombs and empowering you to take back your health. Thanks, Dr. Ron. Bye, everyone.